Thank you for joining us again, Iain. It's really good to have you with us.
Yeah, good to see you, Amy, and thanks for inviting us.
Well, I'm looking forward to the conversation because last time you came on, it was the Human CEO podcast, but it was more about you and your leadership style. Whereas today, what I want to talk about is you and Man and the culture at Man and how you developed that over the last 30 years. So first of all, congratulations on 30 years.
It's 31 now in March.
Yep. Good God.
Now we're in March, yeah. So 1993 we started, so we're up to 31 years. So last year being our 30th year was a big celebration which lasted, and we're still doing our 30th year charity collection. So we've got 5 nominated charities, which we will later this year divide up a large part for each of the 5 chosen charities.
Amazing. You've done quite a few events, haven't you?
Yeah, so even yesterday we did a women leadership event at head office, because now we've got the 3 offices, the brand new office, and I was glad that you could come last April when we had our 30th celebration at head office. When that opened, we've got access now with our own industry plus outside the industry to be able to use the room and use the facilities and everything else. Because even with a head office, we are now in Solihull, we're up to 12,000 square foot.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's big, but the great thing about it, it's always about the next, really.
Yeah. Well, before we do that, let's rewind back to 1993, because I would imagine the business has changed phenomenally since then.
Night and day, yeah. And when I started, it's mad because if people don't know, MAN, M-A-N, stands for the original partner's initials. So there was McCallister, myself and my dad, Sam McCallister, and he was at the business until 2000 when he passed. So he's seen 7 years of MAN commercial. Before he passed in 2000. And then there was the A, Dave Atkins. He was with the business to 2006 when he retired. And then there was Johnny Neighbour, which was the N. And John was a good pal of mine, and he only stayed with the business a couple of months, and I just knew. But we kept the initials, MAN. So it's important that with the MAN Commercial Protection now, it's a well-known brand and name and everything else, but it's the initials of the original partners, and obviously I'm the only one, last man standing.
And so how has it changed from those early days? Is there a golden thread almost that still exists from when you got started?
There's been big spikes really, and what happened and everything else. So we started in 1993. We was in rented offices all the way through to when I bought my first office, which is in 2009, where we are today. But so we rented offices for many years. So from our point of view, there was continued growth. So in 1993, we started mobile phone. It was one of them big phone that come on a brick. You had to carry it round. So that started. Then we won a couple of little contracts and then grew and grew and grew. And then in 1996, that's when I started working with towards a local band called Ocean Colour Scene. And it gave us then the opportunity to get better known. We started working with bands like Oasis, Paul Weller, and then we also started then working with Frank Warren doing the boxing, and continued those relationships. And as I said, from a Guardian point of view, I worked all the way through until 2002, and I decided in 2002, with the touring and travelling and all that, to build the business up, I had to come back to the UK, the Midlands, and that, and build my business up with staff and people, etc., and then just continue to grow really. And it was quite a big sacrifice to give up the touring and that. Not only was it good money, and not only it was great to go all them countries, Japan, America, and all that, and all over Europe many times, but it was also the big opportunity. I wanted to grow the business. So even 10 years ago, we were the biggest privately owned security company ever in the Midlands, certainly the West Midlands. And from our point of view, it was always about the next and next, and we keep pushing and pushing. Everyone said when I got to 10 mil turnover would be happy, which obviously we're well over 50 now and continue. But I did a thing last year in the Sunday Times, but I've given it like a 3-year target from this year to get up to the 100 mil with a turnover. So we're continually looking. I looked at acquisitions. We were close to one last year that didn't happen, but acquisitions will be part of it. We're still privately owned. Still, as I say, I'm still 90% shares of Man Commercials, no private equity, nothing like that. So from our point of view, it's about the continual growth.
How do you retain the culture when you're growing so quickly and when it will have changed so much since 1993? How do you retain the culture?
Because we've got a lot of senior managers and a lot of senior people within the business that have been with us a long time. So they invest into the culture. So from our point of view, they come on board, and it amazes me when I speak to some guards that have been with us 12, 15 years. I remember when we tupied them over, we've got so many different managers that work for us who just started off. We've had so many office juniors who have gone on to work within our head office as heads of departments, whether it's been accounts, whether it's been HR, whether it's been control, whether it's been recruitment, vetting, all different departments. So we've mentored them through as well. And the culture, never 2 days are the same. Head office is great and everything else, but never, ever 2 days are the same. They're really not. So from our point of view, the culture is working with the people and investing into them. Like for our accounts, for instance, every single one of them, we get them to go to college 1 day a week individually, all of them, to get to the next level and all that. And as I said, there's a lot of managers we've invested heavily in, and because it's key, the retention of people. We've got our own internal recruitment department, and recruitment is very, very hard.
And not going to get any easier anytime soon, it doesn't look like, does it?
No, and it's people that say, recruitment. I don't know anyone that's doing great with recruitment because it is difficult. So you've got to work hard at it. So we spend a lot of money on it with regards to different recruitment sites, etc. And then we do a lot of incentives, people recommending people and all that type of thing to try and get to where we can. We're always after the best in class, really.
And it seems like loyalty's big at Man, from the clients and from the team's perspective.
Loyalty is key, and trust is so important as well. And like, we're trusted to look after their people or their property or their places. And from our point of view, trust is what's got to be, and loyalty is a big thing, really. And as I said, we've got quite a few senior managers, at least 20 years with us and all that type of thing. So they've been a big part of the journey. Some of the senior ones have been with us even longer than that. So they've invested into it heavily with regards to the culture. And the culture, we've got so many different ages and everything else. And it's funny because now, like some of the young ones that work with us, 18, 19, and really and truly, their whole mindset is so different. It makes you feel old.
A different generation, isn't it? Just going back to the loyalty, is that a byproduct, or is that something that you've intentionally tried to create? And if it's a byproduct, what was it that you did to generate that loyalty?
I think with culture, people that walk into our office and they get the culture straight away, because I've been into many other businesses over the years when we've either gone in to win the work or to do the presentations and local authorities and different types of businesses. And you walk into a massive room and you could hear a pin drop. And there's people behind desks with screens and that. We don't have anything like that. Ours is open plan. The different buildings have got different. We identified during COVID we needed more space, so I bought another building. So we're in a courtyard of 8. So the one department I thought that needed more space was HR, because as I said, with over 1,500 staff, HR is a big part of our business. So we bought a building and moved HR into the building, so they've got their own space and all that, because a lot of the calls that they take are very personal and dealing with things on a daily basis. So we design that with HR, but they keep, because it's a courtyard, it works perfectly with regards being able to keep everybody in sync. And the thing with culture isn't something you can buy. Culture is something where it has to be ingrained. And the moment people walk in after 5 minutes, potential clients, new clients, existing clients, people coming for jobs. I even did an interview yesterday, and the last thing I said to the person when they were leaving, "Have you got any more questions?" She just said, "I can feel a great culture and vibe about this business. I would love the opportunity." So it's that really. It's people's gut feelings when they come here.
How do you create that? Is it about the way you treat your people? Is it the physical environment? What do you think it is?
Yeah, there's a few things. So if anyone goes on our website, they will see that we, for the last 15 years, have done Employee of the Month. And what we've done, every single person, every single month that has won an award has been on the website. We've also, over the last 5-6 years, invested heavily in industry awards. So for the last 3 years, our industry, the British Security Industry Association trade body, for the last 3 years, we've won the top 3 awards. So 3 years ago, we won Company of the Year. 2 years ago, I won Contribution to the Industry. And then last year, our great team down at the Romford Centre in the Brewery Centre in Romford won Team of the Year. And we've also won numerous Pace Setters Awards and other awards. We're up for different awards this year. So we will invest heavily in our team and our people in industry awards and in our own awards. And we do a lot to get people where we can reward them as well.
And how does that fit in with your employee value proposition then? Do you tend to shout about that kind of stuff when you're hiring, or is it something that's because the way you come across, Ian, it's so unassuming, and of course we're doing this and of course we're doing that. It almost doesn't feel intentional, and I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah, no, I get that, Amy. And as you know, you come to head office and there's a massive sign in the main office which says the heart of our business is our people.
Yeah.
Now, that sign has been there since we moved here in 2009. And as I said, since 2009, we've been doing, because the whole thing, we're only as good as our people. And because our company is man and we're in a manned guardian industry, historically, from our point of view, all of our staff, whether guys, girls, at the end of the day, we've got to make them feel part of the team and we've got to reward them. And we've had so many people over the years who have started and ended up going to work for the client or going to work for the army, work for the police or better themselves. And from our point of view, it's about their personal development. And if we can help that, and if they continue to work for man, it's great for us.
Was it Branson that said train your people well enough so that they can leave, but treat them well enough so that they don't have to leave or so they don't want to leave?
He's said a lot of things, Branson, though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And
There's a fair few sound bites out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of those sound bites. Somebody said to me yesterday, never take criticism from somebody you wouldn't ask advice from. And there's numerous sound bites, but yeah, I don't think you can buy culture, and I don't think you can make it make believe. It's got to be within.
It's got to be authentic.
That's the thing, isn't it? And it has to be right. And to be fair, Tracy, my wife, Laura, my daughter-in-law, there's a lot of them at head office, all different key departments who make it very where it's about the people and making sure they're looked after and they're retained and all that type of thing. And I just know I've been doing appraisals and that this week with senior management and that, and a lot of them say the same thing, that they know they can come to us and that type of thing, which is great, really.
And do you think it's that then? Do you think it's that you are open and approachable and you do treat people as you want to be treated? Is it as simple as that? Is that how you build the good culture?
Yeah, it is simple, because treat people how you want to be treated yourself is correct. And also, I can also measure it on when we win contracts and chupi people over. So we could go and win a contract. This year, we've taken on work on the South Coast. We've taken work in Aberdeen. We've taken work in London, Manchester, start big jobs all over the UK. Now, when we take them contracts on and bring them people under our umbrella and get them to work direct for us, when the clock rolls in, then you realise they've been with you 5, 10, 15 years. Them people that you tutored over all them years ago, it's a great feeling, really, because they've become part of the team.
And do you survey the team? Do you sort of ask them what it is about man?
Yeah, appraisals all the time. Yeah, we do a lot with regards, because we're so well audited in our industry, not only with our British standards, but with all of our industry, with the SIA and all of our approved contractor or audits and everything, appraisals and that. And also as well, as part of the audit, the auditor has to ask a percentage of our payroll. So she could then ask even up to 100 people questions about how you get treated and everything else. But there's numerous little things that we do. We make sure that everyone gets their pay slips 2 and 3 days before pay, so they can see that they're getting paid the right amount. So when they get paid, it's the correct, if there's an issue or there's something they don't think is right, they can contact to make sure. Because one thing we find when we win contracts is people, even to this day, that are getting messed about with their money, or they're getting messed about the way they're treated, they're getting messed about with HR. So we try and alleviate that, because we are still one of the only privately owned companies, certainly in the UK, in the top 20 based on size.
And so when you get the feedback from your people, is it literally as simple that they're treated as they would like to be treated, or it's the way that they're treated? There's all sorts of bells and whistles, isn't there? There's lots of things that you could invest in terms of employee assistance and employee engagement. But is it as simple as stripping it back, Iain, to just treat people?
I think so. You're either happy or you're not. And the thing with that is finding out exactly, make sure they get paid on time, make sure their hours are correct, make sure people have got all different reasons these days. Certainly since COVID, a lot has changed as well, where people have got certain, they only want to work weekends, they only want to work days, they only want to work 2 on, 2 off, or whatever the scenarios to suit them. And it's trying to work closely with them so they can suit them, and also people that they're working with on that particular job who works for them as well. But yeah, it's not rocket science. It's not like the next big thing that it's about making sure people are happy and working closely with them. And there's a lot of time where I do think that people overcomplicate it, and then they'll try and offer them all these different incentives and all that type of thing. But you know what? All of that ride to work scheme and all that car sharing and all that gym membership, people want to make sure they're happy and they're getting paid on time, they're getting paid correctly, they're getting treated right. If they need an extra day's holiday, they need half a day for a funeral, blah, 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 they've got somebody they can speak to. Because every single person that comes to work for us, they know within the HR they can speak to the key people. The thing I'll say that as well, Amy, is because a lot of the big companies we're up against, the big guys, you're treated as a name and number, and you could have been with that company for 10 years, but nobody actually knows who you are. Where with us, they definitely know us. What's happened as well over the last 12, 18 months, the girls in HR, certainly with Tracy and Laura and a lot of the team have been out the whole of the UK handing out like cupcakes and all of that, because it was our 30th year, and getting to speak with the team and have a chat with them and make sure they're okay and everything else. And your team they are your directors of first impression, because if somebody walks on site and speaks to them and they're not happy and they're not getting everything right, then they'll soon tell everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And with your people that are out on site as well, so there's a lot of talk post-COVID. The world of work has changed completely, hasn't it? So people are looking for more flexibility, work-life balance. With your guys, they can't work from home because they've got to be on site. So how has that impacted employee engagement? Are they looking for different types of flexibility? Are you guys back to pre-COVID?
Yeah, well, we as an industry lost people in Brexit because some people went home. Then we lost people in COVID because some people come out of our industry and could find better paid jobs to be drivers, delivery drivers, get £2, £3, £4 an hour extra without all the licensing, the training, the regulation. It seems to have settled down. We're seeing a lot more green shoots when it comes to recruitment, and a lot more people. We opened last year our own training academy, We're getting more public bookers where people are wanting to come into the industry, which is great to see. Always have a chat with those people to welcome them into the industry, and whether they work for us or whether they work for somebody else, at least they're new to the industry, really, and hoping really that we can get some new people to come. But people have left the industry. But I remember during COVID, there was no chefs, was there? People had left. And like lorry drivers, they were getting paid treble the money and everything else because they physically couldn't get them. So there's been a lot of industries and a lot of different sectors that have been affected, really. But no, the guys out, if they're doing 4 on, 4 off, working in an office block or distribution centre, they can't work from home. They've got to work. But some of their challenges and some of their aspirations have changed, definitely.
Okay. In what way?
Well, pre-COVID, a lot more people were what I'd class as breadheads, really, where they were after in it. All of a sudden, now with like different scenarios, maybe they might work 1 day a month less or 2 days a month less, just to get a little bit of getting used to how it was when lockdown was on. Because we as a business grew during lockdown. We were really busy looking after testing stations. We did the rollout of the vaccine. We did numerous other type stuff. So from our point of view, we were really, really busy. We had some of the young girls and guys that worked in our head office, even apprenticeships, and in their family, they were the only person working. The mum and the dad and all that had been furloughed from their roles. So it was good, really. And I think it kept a lot of the younger ones sane as well, having a bit of structure to come to. And it was funny because during lockdown, we got doorstepped twice by the HSE to check if we was doing social distancing and everything else. So second time he come and he knocked the door, and I brought him in. I said, how come you've come here twice and it's only been 6 months? He said, I'm not being funny. You go around this whole estate, he said, and there's no cars, everywhere's locked up. You come here, you got 30 cars on the car park. He said, but he was fine. And as I said, it did give me an idea to buy another office, which ended up buying a third one as well. But it was just, we never knew with that social distancing where it was going to lead to in the future. So just had to be ahead of the game, really.
Yeah. As always. As
Yeah,
always.
yeah. Well, that's how it has to be. Just keep moving forward, and you never ever seem to get to that cigar moment where you think you've got it all. It's all about the next.
Yeah. I don't think you'd last 5 minutes. If you did get to the cigar moment in, I think you'd be back onto the next thing.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to listen. At the end of the day, I say to people all the time, looked after pop stars, looked after all over. I've never, ever, ever in my whole life had a drug, ever. I've never had any of that. But I guarantee that drug would never beat the buzz of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never. And that thing about winning, that's what it is. And making sure that you win, and winners win, don't they? And that thing about winning and everything, it doesn't even have to be a big job. It can be a small job, but it still is a great way of looking forward.
On the growth of Man, I want to talk to you about the training facility as well, because that's internal and external. So people from outside of Man can come in and get training, but you use it as well internally. Is that right?
Yeah, so we've set up 3 classrooms. It's all Highfield accredited, so it's a proper training facility within our industry. So we've got the main training room, which is for the security staff, security guard, indoor supervision, that all that. Then we've got CCTV. We've got a CCTV training course going on this week. So that's for people that need CCTV licenses. We've got a training facility there. And then we've got a first aid room as well, where we do a lot of you can be doing all the defibrillation, you can be doing the paediatric, you can be doing the shopping centres where with the mannequins and everything else, all the different role plays, all that. We do a lot of the top-up training, we do a lot of the first aid training, we do a lot of the one-to-one, where we teach people and everything else about body language and about how to deal with scenarios and that type of thing, and give people an insight into the industry, really. We've had all different stuff. We got in April, we've got county lines. We've got a training course on that. We've also got we've done transport safety officers working on the buses. We've brought in trainers to do train our staff that work out on all the networks and the rails, dealing with antisocial behaviour, dealing with all the different things that can bring.
Great, because that'll have an impact on your culture. The fact that you're investing in your people as well.
Yeah, invested in the people, invested in the property, invested in the business. It's not a case of just your P&L and seeing what you've got and how much you can take out. It's about keeping it going and keeping building it. And it's key to us, development really. And like with the trainer, and then what we do toolbox talks on site. We do numerous different things really. Because it's forever growing. Our industry's forever changing. There'll be an Act of Parliament coming out soon, I'd imagine, Martin's Law, which come in after the Manchester attacks and all that type of thing. So it's learning the counter-terrorism, learning all the different stuff, which has all come a lot over the last few years, really.
And on development then, what's the future look like for man? What's the next 30 years, 31 years look like?
I don't know, 31, God almighty. But I've got a big sign next door which the girls had made, and it said, there is no end game. And that's one thing that I've always said, that people ask me all the time about exit strategy. I really, really haven't got one. I haven't got one with regards to looking to leave. I enjoy doing what I do. My big thing is just keep it going, grow it, get the business to the next level, keep it going, still keep it privately owned, still keep it where we get control of our decisions, get control of what we can do, and work closer with our customers, work closer with them, and build the business to just to get it to the next level again, and just keep it moving forward, really.
And any diversification in there?
Well, there's a massive, our industry is very, very diversified. So there's a hell of a lot where for many years we've done the gender pay gap. And to be honest, it comes out so strong in with the girls and the ladies and that, because from our point of view, it's although the business is called man, there's a high percentage of it is female with regards certainly head office and the senior management team and that. And there's a lot of diversity and there's a lot of stuff we've done over the years, to be honest. But it's one of them where it's just part of our business and it's no change for us. It's what we've always done.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. It's not a new thing for us.
And so will man always be UK based? I know you do a bit of work overseas, but will there always just be offices in the UK, or are you looking at?
There's been talk in the past. We've got a couple of blue chips that have spoke to us previously about working in Europe. I've obviously over the last 3-4 months done some work in the Middle East, and then obviously there's been times where we've looked to work. Ideally, I would like to grow it within the UK, but if there was option in Europe, I'd certainly be open, because with our business and the way we do it and the way we get everything set up in Solihull, we've got a big 24-hour control room, and that controls the business 24 hours out of hours. Now that could be done abroad because it's the heart of the business. And now any opportunity that come, if it would be for the benefit of the company and the benefit of moving forward, I'd 100% be up for that, definitely.
And more acquisitions on the cards as well, potentially.
Yeah, it was a shame. Last year I was very close with the one. It was very, very close, and it just didn't happen. And it's about timing, it's about everything else. But we learned a lot, to be fair, because there's a lot with acquisitions. There's a lot of understanding, a lot what people think they're going to get paid, and then they realise what they're going to get paid after the tax comes off isn't quite as incentivized. So from our point of view, it's understanding all the different. We learned a lot, to be fair, and the thing is, acquisitions are great, but you've got to still make sure them contracts are working and everything else. Because a lot of time, it's not the people on the ground; it's more the management of the contracts that's the issue. So, from our point of view, we could strip that back, build it into our business, and get our culture to take it on. Because at the moment, we've got contracts, as I said, from the top end of Scotland all the way along the south coast of England.
And more to come. More to come.
Oh, listen, the thing is, Amy, at the end of the day, even the few years that you've known me, at the end of the day, we'll never stop. And as I said, as long as we can keep moving forward and keep doing it, that's what it's about. And what's great, the sales people, the ops people, the control people, all within the business have all got the same mind, which is to keep winning. And like, as long as you can keep winning, that's all that matters.
It feels as though you've built a really great culture and you've got good loyalty and you've got good length of service. But it's almost, I don't want to take anything away from how hard you must have worked, but it feels like it's just happened. Do you know, it's not a structure. It doesn't seem like it's been a structured approach. You've just treat
No,
people fairly.
but natural's a good thing, isn't it? And natural, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, if you're trying to make it happen, and listen, we go into so many different types of sectors and so many types of businesses, and you come up against so many different types of people, and they've all got different personalities and different ways of doing things. And sometimes you can take a little bit of good and a little bit of bad from things and see how it works and pick up ideas and etc. And I know there's been so many things. Even with head office, whenever we do a Christmas do, started off with like a dozen. Now I think it's 30 or 40 for Christmas, and they'll go out and have a function. I always know out of 30 or 40, there's only ever about one or two who don't come because of either double booked or they can't make it or whatever. But there's always a 99% turnout, and that's just for Christmas. But as a rule, if they do any functions or anything within the business, they always take to it, because we've kind of, without trying too hard, created a great culture.
And long may it continue.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's one of them, as I said, potential customers, existing customers, potential staff, existing staff, new staff, try and get them to head office. And at the end of the day, I think within 5 minutes of being in the business, I know they can feel what it's about, really. And it's about letting people grow and develop and everything else. And the great thing about that, which is key, is that a lot of them are the stars of the future for us.
And so thinking about if there's someone that is in the shoes that you were in a fair few years ago that's getting started, they're in that growth period and it's all guns, everyone's, cracking on, as we say in Yorkshire, everyone's a bit overstretched. As a leader of that type of organisation, what kind of advice would you share with them about retaining the culture?
Well, retention of people, you've got to look after them people. And the thing with people and everything else, it's all about skill sets, and it's all about getting to know them and understanding what makes them tick and their personal circumstances. And sometimes the worst thing you can ever do in business is over promote people. And like you see it all the time, it wasn't so long ago we had a prime minister. They gave her the role. She only lasted like 2 months, didn't she? And like over promoting people, it happens all the time. You see it all the time in football. You see it all the time in sport. Somebody's doing great in the championship. They give them a job in the Premiership, and within 6 months they're gone because it's the next level, the next level. And the thing with people, give it to them. Give them the opportunity, but try and help them as well. Because if you've got a contract manager out and he's got so many sites, he can't get round all the sites, and you're not giving him any help and you're not giving him any support, eventually he'll sink. And that's no good to you. It's no good to the people or the end users, and you'll either lose him or the clients will have issues with you. So what you've got to do, you've got to identify these people and give them as much support as you can. So it's one thing we've always been strong about is trying to work with people. And as I said, we've got some new call appointment makers coming on to assist the sales team. Got a bid writer coming on to assist with the business development people. We've got people assisting finance, recruitment, vetting, training. We took on a new key holding manager, more control, because it's all about people and strengthening what you've already got in place. And one thing as well, Amy, another thing is some people don't want to spend the money. That's the problem.
In what way? In what?
In development of people and development, where they'd rather they've got one person in accounts when really they might need one and a half or two people, and they'll just keep that one person, and then all of a sudden that person burns out, or there's that type of thing. And some people are wait and wait and wait. But one thing I've always done is taken educated gambles where I'm prepared to invest, and it might not be where I see the reward of that for 6, 9, 12 months, because at the end of the day it's having that, because the last thing you want is people sinking. You'd rather work with them to see if they've got the attributes to take it to the next level, really.
And you almost want people 3 months before you need them.
Correct. And it's getting them to buy in. And I always, if ever I get, it's only I don't do too much of it, but I do any interviews, find out about where they live. If they live an hour away, you just know from day one it could be an issue. And then it's great in the summer, but in the winter and all that, it's a challenge. You finish work here at 5 o'clock, you're getting home at 6:30, 7 o'clock. They can soon get disgruntled. and we've had HS2 all round by us for the last few years. That affects all the motorways, etc. And he's trying to find out what makes people tick and what they do, and understand a little bit more about them and get to know them and see if it can fit in with them, really.
And on that, you guys don't do any remote working, do you? Everybody's in the office.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got contract managers across the UK who feed in, and every week they're up here doing HR meetings, and obviously that can be done by Teams and Zoom, etc. But no, I like to see all my head office staff, all my different departments. They're all office based, etc. I've got a lot of contract managers who are field based, and then they'll report in by Zoom and Teams, but they will be coming to the office each month for reviews and meetings and that type of thing. But yeah, it's a thing where the actual head office itself, everyone's back and everyone's working to capacity, and you're never ever the newest one at Man Commercial too long.
And did you get everybody? Was everybody sort of bought back into the office? I know you guys didn't really lock down too much because you needed to be on site, didn't you? But
I think because we were so busy, and I think there was so much going on, and because we did it so right with regards to all the social distancing and all that, we kind of made it where people were happy to, if they did come back. There was a couple of guys who were at home because they were classed at risk or whatever, but they were chomping at the bit to come back when they could. No, for us, it was no different really. And like, it was mad in the early days of lockdown. We'd been working and all that, and you was going home and everybody was having parties in their back garden, and we'd been working, but it was one of them. The business grew in 2020. It went up another level with regards to continued growth at some of our customers, certainly with the parcels and the deliveries and that. They needed more staff, so it was always busy for us.
There's none of that return to work mandate, no return to the office mandate.
We never ever had them conversations, really. Never ever. I've never employed anyone head office based to work from home because we've never needed to. Everything is, but I can tell just by the same, I'd say 90% of the same people that were here 4 or 5 years ago, the same people here today. And no, it works well because they're all in different departments. They all like share lunches. They all have different times where they'll cross over. There's none of these dividing walls and all that type of thing. So I don't know, it just works for us really. And as I said, after 31 years, it took us 31 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you for joining us, Iain. It's been really good to have you with us. Is there anything that I haven't asked you yet that I should have asked you?
No, that's the most asked question I always get asked, is about exit and what I'm planning to do. But to be honest, as long as you love it, which I do, and as long as you're trying to build it and everything else, but we're only as strong as our team. And my big thing is all about excited really to see what the future holds really, and just the next level, because so, as I said, many people get to a certain level and they think the next big thing or whatever, but there's so much more out there, and we're getting into different sectors and getting into different types of businesses and understanding them people's businesses. So I'm excited about the next few years, definitely.
Brilliant. Well, maybe we'll do another podcast in another couple of years and we'll catch up on that then.
100%, Damien. And as always, great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to speak. Thanks for listening to the Human CEO podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please help us share more leadership content by liking and subscribing. If today's episode got you thinking about unleashing the full potential of your organisation's culture, we've got a great next step for you. Take our free assessment at humanculture.scoreapp.com to see where your organisation stands and discover actionable insights to elevate your workplace culture.